Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the penultimate Ames show for this year. It's very exciting. I am, of course, joined by the majestic, magnificent Machiavellian. That's not a good word, is it? I was looking for another M. Anyway, Mike. Hello, Mike.
Hello there, and good afternoon, one and all. Yes, it's me. Tis I. Today, I'm actually Tom Selleck again, as you can probably tell, without the moustache. But
And
there
the
you have
good
it.
looks
No,
and the
it's
charm.
going to be a great show today. Actually, I'm really looking forward to it. Weird, really, because it's one of those shows that actually you kind of struggle to get people to get interested in. I think because they think it's something that it's not, and in actual fact, massively powerful. I can hand on heart say, having a real grasp on our mission and vision helped me recruit most of the people I did throughout the 90s. I wouldn't say it was like that, but it was very easy, and we didn't use Rec to Rec. So massively powerful. I mean, hugely powerful, but I think equally hugely misunderstood, actually. I was working out this morning in the shower, which is a weird place to work anything out, isn't it, I suppose? But I was working out how many mission values and visions that I've done over the years. And it's not hundreds, but it's dozens for clients I'm talking about now. So, and you come up against the same problem every single time, this misunderstanding of how powerful they are and what you're supposed to do with them.
Yeah, and so now seems like a great time because then you kind of get them sorted over the next couple of weeks, and then you begin the new year proud and the way you go to on. But Mike, from what I understand, right, it's marketing nonsense, right? It's just something that your website designer tells you to put on your page so that people look at, because obviously clients care so much about your vision and values. Is that not?
Well, here's the skinny, really. They mostly don't,
Oh, yeah.
really. And you're right. You are now falling into that trap of being one of these marketing bullshit, really, if you pardon my French. And it can be like if you've got, say, your values upon your website, and you go around everybody in your organization and say one of our values, and if they don't know, then it is marketing BS, really. Yeah, it is. Yeah. What's the vision for working here? I don't really know. It has no purpose. It mostly the whole point. Actually, I'll bring this up because it's really important. Mostly these things, these tools, are for internal use, not external use. Although you can use them externally, they're mostly their biggest benefit. 80% of the benefit, in fact, comes from how you use them in your business, as opposed to the 20% that comes from how you use them externally to your business.
And so internal use, just to clarify on this, most people would think that's only relevant if you've got a team, but it's relevant for if you're a one-man band as well.
Yeah, for sure. You need one, even if you're a micro business. In fact, that's the best time to do it because there's only you. So whatever decision you make, you don't need to bounce that off anybody necessarily. I mean, you can to kind of ratify it a little bit and test it, but you don't have to get buy-in, because what happens is there's only you, or there's a couple of you, and you do it. And then anybody that joins the business, it's like, well, if you join us, this is kind of what we're aiming to do. This is our mission, and these are the values that we rule by, rules of operation almost. And this is the vision, for these different stakeholders that we have. When you work with us, this is what it'll be like, really. And so you can just do that on your own. But certainly, if you've got a business and it's growing and it doesn't have those, then you will cause some difficulties in your business as it grows. And I see it all the time. I kid you not.
Yeah. Okay. All right. You may have convinced me it's not just marketing mumbo jumbo, but convince me further. Can you tell me some of the benefits? If I have these right, if I have my mission, my values, and my vision correct, what sort of benefits am I going to get for me and my business, which is what's key?
Okay. Before we do that, can I ask, does anybody have a mission, a vision, and values? I'm not going to ask you what it is, right? So don't be alarmed. But if you do, just let us know. It'd be great to know whether you actually kind of benefit from this or value it. Well, look, the first thing of having these tools available to you is to attract staff. That the evidence is overwhelming that people want to be part of a mission. They want to be on a journey. So where are we going? What's the journey? What's it going to be like? Tell me what it's like. Yeah, I know that's going to be my job role. I know that's what I'm going to earn, and I'm okay with that. Fine. But what are we doing with this?
Mm.
You know, it is the journey in the longboat. We're all going to go in the longboat. We're going to go somewhere. What are we going to do when we get there? What's the
Yeah.
journey going to be like? You
And
know,
it's
what?
about people are very interested now, especially when you're growing a business, about making sure the culture stays the same. Culture is a really big thing as an employee, as a leader. And if you've got them at the beginning and they come in, you can really quickly see if they match your vision and values, if they kind of align with
Yeah,
everything. And so
yeah,
it's easy to not
absolutely. You know,
hire the wrong
when
person, as it were.
when we when I hired people, we used to use refrigerator recruitment. So you kind of build a relationship up with a potential employee over a number of months before you offer them the job, right? So, and part of those discussions, obviously, is what do they want? How do they see the world? You know, where do they want their career to go? What do they believe in, etc., etc. But also, it part of my job was to weed people out. It's like, well, this is what we're doing here. This is the whole point of it, right? That's the mission, right? And these are the values. So these are the rules. This is how we work here. And if you don't like those, then you better not come, because it
Yeah.
will be unpleasant and you will have to leave eventually, because this is how we do things. We enforce these values because we believe in them. And as for the vision, it's like, well, if you work here, or any of the stakeholders, internal or external, this is what it's like to be associated with this business.
Mm.
And you have to be able to deliver that, not by script, but you have to be able to deliver that in a way that clearly they can see that it's real. And I can do that now. I could transport myself back to the 1990s or the noughties,
Yeah.
talking to somebody, a potential employee. And it just means so much to me. I can recount it. This is what we're doing. We want to be this, and we
Mm.
are going to be this, and this is how we're going to do it, right? So, and that's such a big um, recruiter for people. That is like a beacon for people to gather to.
Mm.
But you have to believe it, and it has to be doable. I
Yeah.
see so many missions, and you think, you'll never do that. We want to be the primary supplier of whatever. No, because that's a deco, and you'll never be a deco. Why would you
Yeah.
have a mission you can't achieve? It's madness, really. You know. So
Yeah.
I think the other thing that you referred to as well is, as a business grows, it loses its shape all the time. That's why most recruitment companies hit about 8, 9, 10, 11 people and start to wobble a bit and go backwards and forwards, because they lose their shape. They become inconsistent. The
Mm.
values, the vision, and the mission will keep consistency. In other words, as your business grows, it will help it to keep its shape. And it doesn't matter who you deal with in the firm, right? You're not going to get an inconsistent service, because, yes, we've got a promise of service, of process maps, all those things, but we've also got these values that we can measure. And we do with our clients. We ask them, do we stick to these? And if not, we can pick it up really early and we can fix it. So they drive consistency as it grows. And if you're serious about growing your business, for example, you have to nail these. And everybody in that organization has to know what they are and why you have them. Right. So it's a really big thing with consistency.
Okay. All right.
Another area is
That was helpful.
planning and strategy. Right. So when you are planning, so now we're all planning for 2022, right? Everyone should be looking at that right now. And so we want to make sure that we know what we're going to do for next year, the plans, the changes we're going to make. They should stem from the mission, and the
Okay.
obstacles stand in your way of achieving the mission, right? So, I mean, there are other things as well. You look very together with your clients, you know, and I think also it's a differentiator against your competition, because you've got this and you believe in it and you're passionate about it, and they haven't. So there are other benefits, but I'm telling you now, it's the cheapest, easiest, and I think most powerful business tool that you can have in the early stages of a business, for sure.
Okay. All right. Well, we have actually had a few comments, so I'd like to get the first of all, Gavin's come in. Just everyone's worried about your health, Big Mike. You were let
Never
out of
better.
Chokey. You were let out of Chokey at the beginning of this week, were you
Never
not?
better. Let out a chokey on Monday. Never better. I had a cold. Honestly, it's like bizarre, really. I'm okay. I
Get you
even went
taken
out last
down.
night to a gentleman's evening. Not one of those gentlemen's evening. It was like
Shall I
there were
tell my
about
mother?
90 there. Yeah, no,
Mm,
no.
okay.
I'm absolutely fine. Yes.
Fantastic. So Judith said she's working on everything today. So Judith, I'd be very intrigued to see if at the end of this you have a more clarification. So I will probably come back to you on that actually.
I'll
Yeah.
tell you, actually. Yeah, please do. I tell you, people over egg the pudding. They're trying to build something which is way, way, way unnecessary. I mean, if you were IMI or Microsoft, yeah, you'd need all this stuff, but you're not. You know, one person, 3 people, 10 people. It's tiny. You
Yeah.
just need something which is functional and practical. I'm going to help you with that later.
Okay. Gavin's made a good thing that he started with the why and then came his values, which led to his mission statement, which is fantastic. So we're going to come to something similar in a little bit. And that leads me very nicely onto what Sam has said, which is what is the difference between a mission and a vision? And Mike, we are going to go into these, are we not? We're going to go into each individual one and explain
We
to you
are,
not
yeah.
only the difference, but also how you can get it. Because
Yeah.
we want to make this as easy as possible for you. We want to
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
much give it you by the end of today, the bare bones of it, if nothing else.
We do. We most of the things that we do for our clients are out of the box, so you can take it and fiddle around with it rather than having to reinvent it from scratch. And this is a classic case of that, really. So, mission. Let's bring that up to begin with. You can have what you like as a mission. I see it as a rallying point. So, if you join us, this is what we are doing now. And the easiest way to form a mission, quite frankly, that people can get behind and that you can measure is to say, we want to be the first choice supplier, whatever it is that you supply, for the people that you serve who want a specific outcome that you can provide. Because what you want to do, you've got all of these people out there, all these clients out there, like loads of them. But in actual fact, the less you focus on, the more successful you'll be. So what you need to do is create a micro niche, a niche of a niche. So I might say, well, okay, so my target clients are micro and SME recruitment firms, because they just are. I want to work with the owners of these firms. So that's taking it down. That's taken out lawyers and accountants, and although we trade with all of those weirdly, really, but I know we do. We don't focus on that. But we take out everyone else that we don't trade with, and what we're left with is that really those are the people I target. So when I'm talking about this with potential clients, if you're one of those, then I should have your interest, or at least you feel included. And when I'm talking to my staff, and when I'm talking to people, they know that's who we're going for. We are going for them. Everything I do should be at that group. And then the second half of that is, what outcome do they want to provide? Because that's what you're going to do with them. And so if you don't want that outcome, then you shouldn't be talking to me. So that's the micro niche. The niche in my case is owners of small and micro recruitment firms. The micro niche is the owners of those firms really want a lifestyle cash cow business to deliver all of their needs, including financial stability, financial security, right? The independence of not having to work. That's who I'm looking for. So, you know, if you're a really big recruitment firm and you want to be listed, it's not me really. That's not where I'm at, to be honest. Or if you're so ego driven, you want like 100 employees and you want to be Billy Big so-and-so's and you don't care the sacrifices you make, it's not me as well. I want someone who a business serves them. Right, that's me. So I can talk about that. This isn't about sticking it on a website. It's talking about it with people, like I just did with you. But the thing I like about this model is first choice is measurable.
Yeah.
At the end of Software Knowledge, the first business I had, my job was really taking people out for lunch and playing golf with them.
Such a hard life you did lead.
It was a lot less fun than it sounded, to be honest. Anyway, but part of the thing when I went out with clients was always ask the question, are we your first choice? Because if the answer is yes, that's brilliant. So that's something I can measure. If the answer is no, then the obvious next question is, well, okay, what can we do to move one step closer to being your first choice? One small thing, anything, you tell me what it is and we'll do it. So you've constantly got that obsession with getting better and continual improvement. But it's also constantly being obsessed with achieving that mission. So first choice, if I were you, we said at the beginning of this, we would have something you could just do in 20 minutes. Well, this is one of those things. Fill that in and you've got a mission, which is good enough to get behind, so long as you believe it and so long as it's achievable. And that's why a niche and micro niche is so important, because metaphorically, you're going to a field and you're finding a grassy knoll and you're putting a fence around it and sticking your flag in it and saying, right, everything in here is mine. Whereas if you just want to be the best recruitment company in the country or something, it's like, well,
It's a lot. It's hard,
you
isn't it?
might be, but statistically you won't really.
I think as well what happens is when you become an owner of a business, it's very, very easy to think, oh yeah, I can do that. A client comes to you and says, oh, can you, if they came to us and they were like, can you do this? And it wasn't really in our mission, you can go, yeah, okay. But what happens is when you do that, you dilute yourself and you normally become less good at the service that you're really good at because you're mucking about with all these other things.
It's very
this
true.
keeps you on point and focused.
It's true. You can diversify, that's fine, but this is about a lead. This is how you lead in. So marketing is about exclusion. You'll exclude the people that you'll never trade with because they'll just waste your time and money and effort, and your headspace. What you need is to reduce it to the people that will potentially work with you. Right. So it's an exclusive. Exclude the people you don't want and who are left you could trade with. And the mission statement kind of helps that and helps everybody else in the organization as well. These are the guys we're going for, and this is what we're going to do for them. Right. So if you don't want that, then go somewhere else, mate, because that's not me. So I think that's really important. That's a really, really important around mission. Dead simple, measurable, and doable. And it's those two things, measurable and doable, because that's when people will believe in it. If you come out with something that's too aspirational, people think, well, I don't think we'll achieve that. And you've lost it then, blown it.
Okay.
So that's the mission, right? So we're good with that.
Okay, yeah. So
if you've got any questions as we go through, please put them in the comments and I'll answer them.
Or if it's helped you, if it's sort of clarified it for you and you've now got a mission, let us know. So the next thing, Big Mike, is vision, which, Sam, this is where the difference will be. This is vision.
Right, okay. So vision is more of a narrative, really. And the easiest way to create a vision for yourself is you create a vision for each of your stakeholders. So each of the people, groups of people that you interact with, what's it like to deal with you? So what's it like to be an employee of your firm? And what I like about this exercise when you do it is that you can spend ages on it and you can talk to people about it. Well, this is what it's like. And if you record it or make a note at the end of it, the key things, what will happen over a period of time is it gradually solidifies and clarifies, and then it just becomes not a script. I think it's the wrong word. I hate scripts, but it's a narrative. It's something that you can talk about. And this is the thing that helped me recruit people, because down the pub, I kind of really believed in this. And I can tell you what it's like to work for any of my companies, right? And it kind of bleeds into the values a little bit, really. Elements of the values come into this, but it's a narrative about, excuse me, let me tell you what it's like when you work for us. Let me tell you what it's like to be a client. Let me tell you what it's like if you're not a client, if you're a prospect, part of our community. This is how we're going to add value to you. This is how we're going to engage with you. You can even include, I've seen them as a competitor, right? What's it like to be a competitor? When they find out that you're trading at one of their clients, how do they feel?
They quake in their boots and all hands are on deck. Awooga, alarms.
I used to have a little thing, right? 4 emotions. I'll tell you what they are. They're not anywhere on the banners that we'll bring up, but right. So I want to create 4 emotions in 4 different groups of people. In my employees, I want to create an emotion of pride. I want them to be proud to work for whichever business it was I owned at the time, because we are going to make you fabulous at what you do. We're going to give you the tools that you need. We're going to give you the training, the coaching, the support, the freedom to experiment and fail, the support that you need to be fabulous. We're going to make you happy in your work as best as we can. You have a problem, you come to me. If I can, I will sort that out for you. And we're going to give you a purpose that you can get behind, that we'll measure, and you can see we're making progress against that. So the first emotion is pride. The second emotion in our clients is appreciation. We want them to appreciate what we do for them, recognize that actually we do a great job, better than most others. We do go the extra mile. We add extra things around the edges for you. We think about what you want. We listen to what you want. And they appreciate that, which means that they're more likely to continue using you over the competition and probably will haggle a little bit less about your fees because they appreciate what it is. And so we are going to create that emotion in that group of people. In our prospects, we're going to create an emotion of desire. So when we begin to talk to them, when they see what we're doing with other people, they're thinking, I want a piece of that. That's how I want my suppliers to be. That's it. So we're going to have a whole bunch of stuff that creates that emotion. And lastly, the one I am least proud of, tell you the truth, in our competitors, I want to create an emotion of fear. I want them, when they know that we are starting to trade at their client site, that they are quaking in their boots because they know what's going to come. We are going to dominate that site, not by signing agreements or anything like that, just by being utterly fabulous and better than everyone else, an obsession with quality. That's the vision, to be able to talk about that to people, potential clients, potential employees, people you meet down the pub, people you sit next to on the bus, which is a really interesting thing. Late at night, particularly, I think it's a good thing to do.
Maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not. But you can begin to talk about that in such a way that the passion, the belief comes through. It's not scripted, but the key elements of each of those emotions, if you will, or groups of people, what you want to create with them. And as soon as you can do that, you're onto a winning streak. So it's not something that you would necessarily put on a website, I don't think. You would talk about it a lot for sure. And when you came to do your plans and your strategy, you've got to be creating those emotions in those groups of people, and you've got to really create the world that you're describing for them. And there must be things in there that make that a reality. That helps you shape your strategy then, obviously.
Yeah.
So, and that's a really key thing. That's the most powerful, I think, when you're recruiting people, for sure.
I think as well with the vision, because I mean, you've done this with. I mean, I got wrapped up in it even just then listening to it. Pete and I work with you for these exact reasons, but it helps you weather rough times a little bit better. So whether that's you're running really hot for a month because it's end of year or something's happened or it's coming up to Christmas and that's your hot period, they'll weather that storm better because they know what the vision is. Or maybe there's a worldwide pandemic and it's a bit of a rough time. People will give you a bit more leeway if they're your clients because they know that this is a blip on the radar because this is your vision. And I think these are so powerful in order to create loyalty. I think this is where loyalty comes in. Maybe not from the competitors.
I think it is.
Competitors be loyal.
We've always had a very low turnover of staff. I mean, in Flair, it's like zero, obviously. In the first business, which had 80 odd staff, and it was less than 3% a year that we had. And I think a lot of that came down. Yeah, we had the vision, talk the talk, but you've got to walk the walk as well. You've got to deliver it. You've got to have an obsession with it in such a way that when you even now when I talk about it, I'm not thinking of what's bullet points on a list. I'm just describing to people what it's like to come and work here or what it's like to be a client. And I think that once you can do that, your vision is forming. Your mission is the thing you want to achieve and you can measure against. Your vision is what it's like as you achieve that. What are you going to construct? What are you going to build, which is going to give you that mission?
Yeah, you need to.
And then, of course, it brings us to the last of those things, which...
Before we move on, we've got, first of all, I liked this comment. Mike the story, J.K. Rowling, move aside. I enjoyed that very much, and so did he.
Everybody loves the story, don't they, Gav?
It's one of the most powerful things on the planet. So, and then the other thing is, this is from Judith before we move on, which is, can you have more than one target audience? I'm assuming that's relating to the mission on this.
Yeah, I mean, there's a question around there whether you should. When you're selling, what a lot of people, the mistake a lot of people make is they ask the question, can I do it? Can I do that? Can I work with those people? Can I solve that problem? The real question is, should I? Because the more you focus, the more you'll achieve. So do less and achieve more. And so I think that's a great question when you're thinking your mission. If your mission is too vague, then it's less believable. You can get behind it. Well, we serve this group, that group, and the other group. You've either got to think of a term that sums them all up. Okay, and then within that, it's the problem that you solve really that brings people together. But I think it's a mistake to do too many things with too many different groups of people, or at least market yourself in that way. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So yes, that very much does lead us into our final one, which are values.
Yeah. Now, as soon as you abandon the notion that values are an external tool to be put on the website, you can point people at, and they don't care. They really don't, They might say they do, but they don't.
No cares are given.
In just the same way that you don't care about the values of the suppliers that you work with. I mean, you care about how they treat you, which are the values, but you don't want to read it on a website particularly. And the big problem that I have when I do this with clients is that they want to create different values, values like what's it, USPs? No. These are rules, and I've been doing this for a long time. They're most of the values, 80% of the values I ever come up with. That's it on the screen. So you can pick and mix, take what you think is relevant to you, right?
How many values do you reckon you should have?
4 or 5. We got 6, I think, haven't we? So,
yeah, we got 6.
So I think that so long as they're real, or you can have aspirational values, that's fine. We're not there yet, but we're heading that direction. We're doing our best to be that. That's fine to do that. But you shouldn't just invent things that you don't believe in. Because if you don't believe in them, neither will anyone else, really. You know,
And I
so what
suppose if you
are
think
you?
about it, like one of our big values, and which is my favorite one, is sort of over there, which is fun, which is because I refuse to have an environment where I spend the majority of my waking time where I'm not having a laugh, really. And so if you said it was fun working in your, one of your values is fun, and then someone comes to work for you and everyone's very sad and pouty, they're not going to stay very long. So these have to be really true. They have to
Well,
be
yeah, it's like the phone
integral to who you
rings,
are.
and it's a supplier. Phone rings, and you see who it is, and you think, oh no, that's just going to be heavy and uncool. Really, that is going to be intense. Nah, right? You want, oh, aha, it's Mike on the phone, or JK Ames, as I now call myself. Thank you, Gav. Right? Hello, how you doing? Oh, if I could only tell you how I was, and away you go. And the idea is to be fun, to make, you don't have to be serious all the time. Now, that's for us. You might not want to be that way, and that's fine. Just choose things which are authentic to you, but pretty much what you see on the screen is them, really. That's what people look for. We know this, right? You could add some extra ones based on your particular type of product or service, or the people you deal with, but just choose them, really. I'll tell you what the missing link is, though. Actually, it's this. Once you've got your values, they're just words and maybe a description of what it is. Integrity, we always do what we say we're going to do, which is fine. I mean, that's an important thing. Everybody likes to deal with someone who's got integrity, right? Really important value. But what are the behaviors you expect people to demonstrate in your firm which support that value? That's much more interesting. So when we do this exercise with people, yes, we do the values and we talk about them and we test them out to make sure that pretty much that encompasses how we want to do business. And when people deal with us, that's what they're going to get. But then I get people to write out the behaviors, which is infinitely more difficult, but massively more powerful, because your staff will find it a struggle to get behind the integrity word, say, for example. So, well, I get it. I know what it is. What the hell does that mean? Oh, well, integrity means you always tell the truth. Integrity means that you make a promise and you keep it. And if through an act of God you can't, you point that out immediately. You don't sit on it. You tell people immediately, because you can measure these things. So behaviors should be something you can say to the client, do we do this? You're dealing with Fred blogs, right? Does Fred does this with you? As opposed to a word which has no power and no meaning. It's just a thing that hangs there, probably on the website or the tea room wall. Can't relate to it. So I think values come to life when you put behaviors around them. And that's a really interesting thing to do. Maybe 4 or 5 behaviors each. They're just, I get it now. Yeah, I know. Yeah. And you can use it in your training, and you can use it as personal development, and you can use it in the appraisals, and you can use it in your VOTC, whatever you want, really, if you want. But if you treat values in that way, it's a completely different kettle of fish.
Okay. All right. So I think we've sort of come to the end here, and we've crammed a lot in sort of 25 minutes. So I'm going to try and summarize it a little bit. Essentially, mission values are for internal use predominantly, 80-90% internal, 10% external.
80%, 20%, yeah.
Yeah. And what they have loads of benefits. Even if you're a micro business, even if it's just you, they can help you attract and keep the right people. They can keep you consistent as you grow. They can help you plan and strategize. They can help you look together from the outside. They can help you stand apart from your competitors. Lots and lots of things, and they're so valuable. So to do that, there's actually not as much work, I think, as people probably think that there is. Your mission is simple. It's I am the first choice for these people, my target clients, who want this result, whatever that may
It's
be.
aspirational. So
Yeah.
we're going to be, we're working towards, because you aren't at the moment, perhaps. I don't know. But yeah, that's essentially it. Yeah.
Okay. So then you've got your vision, which is sort of separated down to 3 parts, really. What the experience of being an employee for you is, what the experience of being a client of yours is, and what the experience of being a prospect is.
Or any other stakeholder. If you've got intermediaries, then what's it like to be an intermediary? I
Yeah.
love the competition one. I didn't put it on the screen because I'm not that proud of it, really, but it's really cool to write it down. What's it like to be a competitor of ours? Because oh, that's interesting, isn't it? I think.
Yeah. And I think another key point that you made as well is that talk to people, talk to your employees, talk to your current clients, and figure out what that is now, and see if
And
that's
on
what
that, you're looking for emotions. People really get fired up by emotions. So what emotions do you want to create? When somebody is driving to work for you as an employee, What are they thinking and feeling in their way in? Because you've got to create that emotion if you want it to be positive. And you'll get a lot more traction. Is that the right word? It's such a poncy word, isn't it, really? But you get a lot more take for something which is emotional, which has an emotional link to it. And your job to create that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And then finally, you've got the values, which there aren't that many. There are kind of 10 or 11 of them anyway. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Pick ones that really resonate with you and that you are going to follow through, because don't have empty ones, because they'll be negative rather than positive, right? Yeah. And create behaviors for those.
So imagine when you're talking to your clients or people coming into your business, when you talk about these things, they're going to be saying, yeah, I want to deal with people that do that. Then all you need is a whole bunch of testimonials and video case studies that basically say, yeah, that thing, they do that. Yeah. Jobs are good.
It makes it much easier to get testimonials, which we all know I'm a fan of. Okay, so in a second, Mike, I'm going to come to you and come for the top tip, the number one thing that people should do in order to start this process. But I am intrigued. Anybody who's watching, whether it's live or the recording, has this changed your outlook on the mission, vision, and values? And has it given you one that you can, like a straw man almost, that you can work off? But before I come to you, Mike, next week, we're going to be talking about how you can get more results with less effort in 2022. Is that not correct?
We're going to just do 3 little magical things. Anyone can do them. You can start doing them in January and they will have an effect. It's our end to the year, really, I guess, probably.
Yes.
And there will be Christmas jumpers. There will be Christmas jumpers.
I might wear my Christmas crown.
I may even have a mince pie. I don't know, really. Oh, and also we've got a really big announcement to make next week as well.
It's big for us. Big for us.
Big for us, yeah.
We're not launching the Titanic or anything, but it is big for us. Okay, so Mike, coming to you now. People are watching this and thinking, right, mission, values, vision, it's what I want. I want to get started on it. What do they do first?
I think it really relates to the mission. And I think you've just got to ask 2 questions, the who and the why. Niche and micro niche. It's an exclusive activity. Get rid of the people that you don't really want to deal with or never will deal with, or it's unlikely that you'll deal with. And whoever's left, you're going to go for. And what outcome are you going to give them? Why would they be interested in you? And a particular emphasis on the flavor, your flavor of the solution. So if you're a recruiter, they want a bum on the seat. Well, it's fair enough. I get that. But how do they want that bum on the seat to be made real, to happen? Because that's your flavor of recruitment, and that's what you should focus on. So if you put some work in those, and if you want to be the first choice in that space, because you can measure that, that's a great start, man. You really crack on with that.
Okay, fantastic. So, as I said, it's penultimate. Please feel free to wear your Christmas jumper next week when you join us as well. Just getting the vibe. But thank you very much, Mike, for today. I think it's been enlightening. I think it's definitely a different viewpoint on mission, vision, and values than I've seen before. So thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Okay.
And thank you to everybody who's commented as well.
Thank you. Yeah, and we'll see you next week, guys. Take care.